Anti-Afro, Svengalis, going to address this issue, and I'm telling you folks, this is from another hemisphere. I'm going to address it nonetheless. Hearing is believing. Then I'm going to come back and tell you what's going down. Stay tuned and I will return.
I'm perfectly fine with getting roasted. I've always been fine with being roasted. Um, and the things I've called anti-black are actually anti-black. I've never accused somebody of being anti-black just for roasting me. But when they're roasting my skin and my hair, like that's anti-black. Dirty nigger with a hard ER and a subhuman, I'm gonna call that anti-black. Call me a dirty nigger with a hard ER and a subhuman, I'm gonna call that anti-black. I don't think this is a complicated thing to understand. I think it's pretty simple. And again, the fact that I keep on getting accused of being anti black because people are taking out of context things I said years ago, while a woman has been calling us niggers with the hard ER and subhumans for a year straight around this bitch, and not one black man that I know of has said a goddamn thing about it. I should say some have in the chat, but not a single black man on the panel has said anything about it. Uh, that is an anti-black woman. And so it's bad enough when people twist my words to try to make me look anti-black, but when all the black men in this community with panels make it so clear that they are only pro-black male and really don't care what happens to the image of the black woman, it's really that much more ridiculous when they try to hold me to task for things I never even said. But a person can come around here and call us animals and subhumans and niggers with the hard ER. And Pill said nothing, Darrell said nothing, Photon said nothing, Propane said nothing. What other man has a panel? LV said nothing except for please, please stop, please. Um, um, P said nothing. Like none of the black men with panels said a word about it. And many of these black men have tried to twist shit I said 4 years ago to suggest I'm anti black, when I certainly never said anything like that about black men. But again, for a lot of black men, pro black men means pro black male, and black women are on their own. And like I said before, 4 years ago, it's not the same way with us. We defend the image of black men. If what Stargate said a man had said about our men, we would have went clean the fuck off. He wouldn't have been welcome nowhere around here. But our men do not have our back in the same way. And that's a fact. And me speaking on their lack of love for us is not me hating them. That's them that's lacking love, not me. You don't get to do whatever you want to black women. You don't get to street harass black women and say nothing about the street harassment. And when a black woman says how it makes her feel, you call her anti black. That's not how that works. Unlike some of these black men, we have too much self respect to let somebody talk about us like that and be welcome on our platforms. It's just like the street harassment. So men could harass me in the street as much as they want. You never gonna say a word. But if I say it's scaring me, now I'm anti black. But if I say I wouldn't want to live in the community because I wouldn't feel safe, or the leadership isn't focused on making the women safe, like what do you want from me? You want to not protect me, so you're not going to protect me, right? And uh if you'll watch me get attacked and you won't intervene. But if I complain about it, I need to shut up. And if I say that you're the one perpetrating it, I hate you. So really, the only thing you could do to please some of these coons like Photon is be quiet and get beat the fuck up and just don't say nothing about it. And if it makes you afraid, you can be afraid. Just don't say it, because they really don't give a fuck about your feelings. They don't give a fuck about your safety. They don't give a fuck about your image. Like, you just here to just be there for their entertainment. But anything you need as far as protection or safety, if you ask for it, you're doing something wrong. If you complain about not getting it, you're doing something wrong. If you stick up for yourself, you're doing something wrong. But the people attacking you, they ain't never doing nothing wrong.
I told you that we're not dealing from something within this realm, but I'm the one that's bringing you back to reality. I'm the one that's going to tell you what actually went down. Okay, there are two competing first questions. I don't know which one I should pose first. I'll just go ahead and start with compared to who? We just heard all of these globalizing, ends of the earth, all inclusive declaration, absolutes about black men. Compared to who? In order to make statements like this, it has to be one of two things going on. This is, I told you so, this is how it always is, or, oh my goodness, thank God I don't have to deal with this when I'm not on YouTube. Which one is it for her? Carrie Ann, obviously, this is the norm. What she's describing, her perception of what she's saying black men are here in these YouTube streets, this is what she's used to dealing with. Because it's not an exception. The way she's describing the situation is what she's accustomed to. It's the norm. She's not saying, oh my goodness, I've never in my life have ever encountered something like this. Or when I encounter something like this, thank God I know I have options. I don't even have to deal with this. She's not saying that. This is how she feels about black men. And we already know this because she said it. We don't have to keep playing what she said, except when new folks come around and she lies and tries to put on an act like she's something that she isn't, and then someone has to break out what she really said. This is what Carrie Ann is accustomed to. And what you're accustomed to, you're drawn to. Now, people can put on acts all day, every day. They can pretend that they're nice and that they're sweet and, hey, come on over here. You're welcome. And then when you get there, it's not long after you see how folks really are. And then it's time to make a choice. You have a choice to stay or go, which brings me to the second question. It's actually a first question. What would be the reason that Carrie Ann would continue to pursue presence, to run after, to curry favor, to beg after, to plead, to demand, to expect something from black men that she characterizes in the way that we hear her characterize them? It goes back to a statement she said when she was whining and crying, saying that she has respect for herself, or they have too much respect for themselves, and she was including herself in that picture. Someone who has respect for themselves, they don't put themselves through agony like this. Saying that you have respect for yourself is saying you have respect for yourself. Actually having respect for yourself is demonstrated by your actions. And we know Carrie Ann obviously doesn't have respect for herself, or she wouldn't be putting herself through this ridiculous routine, expecting the world to accommodate her by being what the world isn't. Individuals, you must be this way because I am commanding you to do this. You must treat me a certain way, which means you have to be someone who you are not. I'm commanding you to be this way. It's never going to happen. Never in a million years, no matter how much she cries, no matter how much she whines, no matter how much she complains, no matter how much she lies, no matter how much she levels these false allegations, no matter how much she tries to pit people against each other, nothing will make someone be who you want them to be. And this is what Carrie Ann tries over and over and over again. That is not self-respect. Actions speak louder than words, and we all know this. So she's trying hard to punish everyone because she doesn't have the guts to stand up for what she claims she believes in. She goes on these rampages, angry at herself. That's who she's angry at the most. and she wants everybody else to serve her punishment for being so damn weak. Carrie Ann is the one who is the weakling. All of that hollering and screaming, I talked about her 2 gallon tank. Yes, it's loud, it's rambunctious, but has a very short life. She has to keep filling it up, filling it up, filling it up, filling it up. She can't go the distance. This rapid fire hysteria has a very short duration. She gets exhausted, she gets exasperated, and she doesn't make any progress. There is absolutely no progress. So, what does Carrie Ann do? She comes up with all these lies. Since the truth is not helping her, okay, now I'm going to try to get some traction with some lies and some shock value. At least I can get someone to pay attention to me for a few minutes if I come up with outrageous lies about people. Yeah, sure, she holds attention for a few minutes, but then she needs to try to find a way to top that. And then here comes the hysteria, winding up again. And then when people get tired of her repeating the same old lies, then I got to find something else. What other lies can I make up? It just keeps growing and growing and growing. And now she forgets the lies that she told, that she made up to try to make her seem better than other people. She slips up and aha, that wasn't even true to begin with. The master's degree is just one of many, many, many lies. I have a master's degree. She kept bragging about it. Not only did she brag about it, she was trashing people who have bachelor's degrees or no degrees for the longest. And then she slipped up and said she has a bachelor's degree. She was ridiculing and harassing and haranguing women who said they come from a home where their father did not stay with the family. She was ragging on women who talk about they have difficult relationships with their father. Anything about fathers she jumped on. And then she compared her life, supposed life, family life about her father, my father this and my father that, as if it was the black Leave It to Beaver. It was never believable because the way she's acting is just not reflective. And I'll put the disclaimer in. It doesn't mean that your behavior will always reflect the way you were raised. But it's more likely than not. There are always exceptions. But she was speaking it. That's the difference. She was claiming that it does. But what she was saying was not reflecting what she claimed. Like, I was brought up to be this, to have good manners. And I was brought up to respect myself. She's saying this, but she's not showing it. That is the difference. Then come to find out, after she harassed and harangued women whose fathers did not stay in the home for whatever reason, that her parents divorced. Then she said, oh my God, I would die if my dad left when I was 10 years old. We don't know how old she was when her father and her mother got a divorce. I've said it many times. Divorce is not a dirty word. I only brought up people's fathers when they started mentioning my dad out of the clear blue sky. I wouldn't give a damn one way or another. And I don't give a damn either way still. I just return the favor. I didn't even get upset about it. I just return the favor to show you they dish it out, but they can't take it. They're the ones who got upset about it. The ones who were initiating the attacks on people and citing and referencing their families. I wouldn't give a damn if you brought up my family. Show their careers. You will be put to shame. I could brag about my family all day, every day. Can you brag about yours? Carrie Ann also lies about being raised in a pro-black family. And when I say lies, she says it as if it's a positive thing as far as she's concerned. But then she turns around and says she doesn't trust black male leadership. Now, obviously, you don't have to be a pro-black to have positive black male leadership. But we do know the pro-black ideology is heavy-duty black male leadership. So it's just lies and contradiction all the way around. She's just saying any and everything to try to see whose attention can I hold and for how long. She only holds the attention for brief periods of time and has to keep on trying to find ways to get people to look and listen at her. It's frustrating because she loses it every single time. The attention is not worth being held. So let's go back to the skin. I don't want people talking about my skin and my hair. I put on the community wall how I made a mistake. I've been saying Dempsey Diderot was the first one to talk about black folks' skin and hair in and around the Umar Johnson sector. I was wrong. It was Carrie Ann, and it was the smoke who she was trashing and attacking, and she hadn't even had any interactions with him. But she sure as hell was coming on, talking to people about his hair and his skin, calling him dirty, said he looked homeless. She was just talking all kinds of shit. It doesn't matter if you're talking about a man or a woman. She did what she did. And she does what? She feels that she's got some position to sit here and cry and whine with credibility because someone's talking about her after she started shit with them. So Dempsey comes number two, eviscerates Carrie Ann in what, a 2 hour live stream? A to Z. He's done more than one live stream. He did, I think it was three, but the first one was the most prominent, completely tanked her from the top of her head to the bottom of her feet. So what does Carrie Ann do after Dempsey ran that initial live stream? She tries to blame breaking the culture of silence. He wasn't even in the Umar Johnson sector at that time. She tries to blame Stargate. Stargate was just a participant in that chat. Tried to blame Scarlett, just a participant in that chat. That was Dempsey's live stream. Carrie Ann was the one who set things in motion. Continues to swing for the fences and thinking she has a right to control what other people say about her when she set the whole damn thing in motion. Carrie Ann is not going to control what anybody says. And let me tell you this, I will make this declaration. I guarantee you what I have to say is going to stick. And what Carrie Ann has to say is not going to stick. People are going to continue to say whatever the hell they want to say, specifically when it comes to ninja and ninja, the hard ER. And let me say this before I go on about this word. The word just typically tends not to be a part of my vocabulary. It doesn't bother me as long as it's coming from a black person, whether it's the hard ER or the A. So whoever wants to say the word, say the word. Guarantee you Carrie Ann is not going to be able to control who says it. Whether Stargate says it, whether Smoke says it, whether Keeping It Plain says it, whoever says it. Anywhere in and around the Umar Johnson sector, I can guarantee you this, Carrie Ann won't be calling any shots as far as the vocabulary and the lingo that anyone uses. Guarantee you what I say is going to go in that regard over what Carrie Ann says. They're not going to listen to Carrie Ann. She came in here trashing and bashing black men. I don't care how many times Carrie Ann tries to lie and say she didn't bash and trash black men. She called black men exceedingly dangerous. And then she turns around and said, I don't got no protection. I ain't got nobody is helping me. They're attacking me. I don't have any safety. Nobody's coming to my defense. Who's going to come to Carrie Ann's defense? When she says she doesn't trust their leadership, she doesn't feel safe around them, how can you expect someone to defend and protect you when you don't feel safe around them? I don't get that. I don't get it in a million years. Now, the logic I do get when black folks don't want to call the police. Why? They legitimately, the black folks who feel this way, they legitimately don't feel safe and they legitimately don't trust the cops. That's why they don't call. And there's other issues, but think about that feeling. If you don't feel safe around the police, you're not going to call them if you don't feel protected. So why the hell is Carrie Ann demanding black men protect her, to run to her defense, to jump up in these chats and start telling everybody off because they offend her? This is one confused broad who wants the world at her feet. Why does she want the world at her feet? Because she's looking around and she's seeing how people are just being treated with garden variety decency. And that's not something that she's even used to. She doesn't even know how it feels because she doesn't even trust that. You can't even be decent to Carrie Ann because she wants to escalate every single situation there is. You sit there and try to have a civil conversation. She's trying to escalate as quickly as she possibly can because that's where she's most comfortable. She's most comfortable in elevation mode. She either has to be all the way elevated or you have to be kissing her feet 24/7. You have to be patting her head. You have to be completely ingratiated into her and telling her how great she is. You can't do any wrong. That's not reality. You have to either be 100% all in and telling her she makes no mistakes, you're the best person on this earth, nothing is wrong with you, or you have to be completely escalated with her. Those are the only two realities for Carrie Ann, and nobody on planet Earth is going to be engrossed with Carrie Ann and telling her how great she is. That's not going to happen. So Carrie Ann deep down knows this, so she shoots for the escalation. Everywhere she goes, all over YouTube, immediately she starts trying to escalate with black men. That is the way she is. She tries her hardest to see how far can I go? What lie can I tell? How much attention can I garner? Just get me into the elevation mode. And people get sick and tired of that really fast and don't want to deal with her stupid ass. Lie, 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 and more lies. People don't give a shit if Carrie Ann is upset because nobody's going to put up with her garbage. People are going to say what they're going to say. Ninja Hardy R or A. They're going to call Carrie any name they want. Carrie Ann is the one who set this shit in motion, and she's going to have to deal with all the consequences that come thereafter. No one is going to shut up. No one is going to go baby cakes. No one is going to give a damn if Carrie Ann's feelings are hurt. Does Carrie Ann care if anyone's feelings are hurt? Does she worry whether or not she's offended somebody? Why the hell should anybody give a damn if Carrie Ann is offended? We don't care and we never will. The only reason why anybody even gives Carrie Ann the time of day is because they get to go over there and gripe and whine about someone that she is complaining about. Nobody cares. She doesn't even care. How are they going to care about Carrie Ann when she doesn't even respect herself, running after these dudes who are treating her like shit? Actions, like I said, speak louder than words. What is the reason you would continue pursuing those who treat you like garbage? You're never, ever, ever going to get your way. Never going to happen. But you run up behind these fools who crap on you. And that says everything in the world about Carrie Ann. Those who were doing it, they are who they are, and they're not going to change. And neither is Carrie Ann. She's accustomed to being crapped on. If you're not accustomed to being crapped on, you're not going to be crapped on. Quit trying to compare Stargate. Stargate will get the hell up out of any space when she doesn't want to be there. Stargate runs the show wherever she goes. Stargate is running the show wherever she goes. And if you start trying to mistreat Stargate, she's going to get gone. She's going to defend herself, and then she's going to get gone if it becomes like abusive. She doesn't have to put up with this garbage. Carrie Ann is pleading and begging. When have you heard Stargate pleading and begging anything? She will get there. She will rumble. She will hang in there. She will deal with the issues. But pleading and begging? No, that's not part of the gig. Self respect for yourself is demonstrated, it is not spoken. Talk is cheap, folks. But I tell you one thing, I got more coming your way. In the meantime, you know the drill. Buyer beware.